Hello, everyone, and welcome. uh, I'm laughing because I have accidentally set up Sasha's display a little too low, so so it's just like a pair of eyes poking up over. I will
How
quickly
ideal, actually.
quickly adjust that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fantasy Craft: The Last City. I'm Austin Ramsey. I am your GM for this evening. My pronouns are he, him, and I will also be your GM. Wait, I already said that. This stream, as always, is presented by You Don't Meet in an Inn, an actual play podcast about exploring obscure tabletop role-playing games with a diverse, rotating cast. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts from. And you can find me on Twitter at NotAnIn. And you can find my game design stuff at austin-ramsey.itch.io. And this evening, I am joined by Christine.
Hi, yeah, enough about you. I'm Christine. I am the host of You Don't Meet in an Inn, and sometimes you can find me on Not an Inn Twitter, but it's usually Austin. And I'm playing Dwarfy, and my pronouns are she or they.
Thank you. Also joining us is Sasha.
Hi, I'm Sasha. You can find me on Twitter at Sasha_Renell. You can find my game design stuff at Cabbage. My pronouns are and I'm playing Madam B.
Thank you. And last but not least is Hadrian.
Hi, I'm Hadrian. Find me on that Twitter's at Hadrian, and pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing Viper, the martial artist.
Unfortunately, Cassandra still can't join us as her technical problems are ongoing. Hopefully, we will see Ingril being played by someone other than myself in the not-too-distant future. And speaking of our heroes, where did y'all leave off last?
We were gathering information about who might have smuggled in the Sparked, and pretty much all of our routes led to the university. Which reminds me, subplots. We need to go through the rules of that.
Okay. I don't suppose you know where to find them?
Near the end.
I see. Okay, I'm going to have a look at the index. Does anyone have anything to add about what we were up to last week?
Got to talk a little bit to the Flat Hand? Is that the name?
The Hidden Hand?
The Hidden Hand, that's the one. Got to bet on a pit fight, that was fun. Got to harass a bunch of postal service workers.
Was that also fun?
That was alright.
So yeah, page 381.
Yeah, this is fairly long. Was there a particular note that you wanted?
Well, Dwarfy now has the subplot of Dwarfy does a crime. Because I made a deal with a criminal organization that I would do either 14 or 17 hours of work. Actually, I should pull up my notes, I guess. But yeah, a certain amount of hours of work for information, which was basically that they had no information, so that's not that's not great. But yes, however, because there are rules for subplots and special perks once you complete it, I would like to invoke the subplot rule. But of course, subplots aren't in the Roll20 character sheet. But I do have a printed out character sheet, and I will put it there. Yeah, so I guess we can look into later about what it means to complete the subplot, but I should mark that subplot has begun.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, there you go. Got a side quest. Okay. So yes, we did leave off probably getting on in the evening with the three of you at the punch bowl.
Oh, I do have one question though.
Mm-hmm.
Page End. He's one of the fingers. Is he the middle one? Or sorry, they, because they were a dick. Let's just be honest.
I have a sneaking suspicion they're probably all gonna be.
Oh no.
Just a hand, just 4 middle fingers and a thumb.
Allegedly a thumb.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Thumb is also a middle finger.
Okay, so what do the three of you want to do?
Well, there is one like lowercase s subplot we have going on also, and that's called we have 3 bodies in our pantry still.
Oh, we still do.
I have plans for them.
Okay. Well, I'm glad someone does.
You gotta eat these or have them.
Go wild.
It's in cold storage, it's fine. They'll keep.
Well,
For a little while at least. It's only been 1 day.
2 days. No.
Yeah,
It has only been
it's
1
it's been about 24 hours since the opera.
Right. And this is why I'm making you invoke the 3 to 4 session adventure rule, end of adventure rule, because things with you just tend to drag on for 24 hours of gameplay.
Look, there are consequences to your actions.
What are you, my parole officer?
Sounds fake to me.
You also had the lead about Hennet Ullin,
Mm-hmm.
who you'd learned is a cobbler in the merchant district. Or, sorry, in the crafters district, not the merchant quarter.
part cobbler, part moneylender, which is an interesting racket, I think.
Seems less money lender and more of... Oh no, it does say money lender. Never mind. But they seem to have mostly bought loose debt.
Yeah.
So it's late at night.
Yes, the sounds of the crowd fill your ears, along with the sense of sweat with a tinge of blood and various varieties of alcohol, but most especially beer. There's whispered conversations that add a subtle variance to the raucous cheering that surrounds you. What do the three of you do?
Before I leave, I'm not going to talk to Page End again, but one of the people that they have around them, like, I guess bouncers, I would like to go up to them and tell them, can you let your friend over there know that I don't need to breathe? So if there's anything underwater, such as, I don't know, hypothetically, ships that have been wrecked that have a lot of trade goods, I could salvage them. I figure that's like the least amount of crime that I could do.
Okay, says one of the guards, very slightly unnerved by you.
I also never sleep. Bye. They're gonna be mean and be visibly unnerved, and I might as well haunt their dreams.
Okay. And V, what are you up to?
Well, not a whole lot. Just sort of. I think what V is up to is like chatting Viper's ear off on like the fight, and like not so much on the specific fight, but on the like the rules and regulations and for want of a better word, mechanics of the fight. From like comparing it to jousting and the kinds of fights that she's used to, and also opera itself, right? Because there's a bunch of fighting in that as well. So it's like, I don't know, she's nerding out. This is very exciting for her.
Viper, how you taking that?
I'd imagine Viper's pretty enthusiastic. She likes to nerd out about stuff punching too.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, are the three of you going to spend the rest of your evening here, and or go back to the embassy to take a nap? Except for Dorothy, as she stated earlier, does not sleep.
I'm gonna do things with bodies. It's fine.
All
Naps
right.
are good.
Yeah, I'd like to go back. Well, Viper intends to at least do something with the bodies tomorrow, pending any overnight events, but
Okay, and so Viper's going back to the embassy, and V.
Yeah, I think I'll follow. If only to get a quick nap in before we head to the university to talk there.
All right, so the two of you are going to bed. Dorothy, what are you up to?
I'm gonna start a long-term project with how many hours that you... It's fine. Everything's fine. A long-term project with how many hours you deem necessary. Unfortunately, this is going to be the animal experiments about what causes the contagion. I don't want to go into detail, obviously, but I'm essentially figuring out under what stimulus can you catch a sparked? Is it just being killed by a sparked, or if there's anything else?
Okay.
But we're just gonna gloss that over.
Yeah.
These are all bad animals. They're all criminals.
Well, I think that this will be an investigation roll.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That should probably give us some idea about how long it should take. I would think.
Sure. And can I spend any action dice on this?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, I will spend an action dice. Investigate.
Research.
So that's a 19 plus. Sorry, how do you type in your dice again?
/ roll space 1d4 will be to add to your action die.
Thank you. So 22.
22. Okay. Interesting. The rules for research are specifically about looking through books and the equivalent. So.
And I can make them into books.
Is there a... Nope, nothing in medicine.
I like to think Viper accidentally rolling there means that like she like stumbled out looking for a glass of water in the middle of the night and just like sees me like elbows deep in a body. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna look somewhere else. Whoop, I'm gone.
Okay. All right. Do you have a list of questions that you want answered?
Well, okay, so here's the thing that the questions I have answered would have to go into detail about the animal testing, and I don't want to do that. So essentially, the broad overview question is, how can this spread? Is there any other way possible that this spreads other than to be killed by a spark?
Okay. All right. So I don't think you come up with any good answers this first night.
Okay.
Nothing conclusive, anyways.
Okay.
Just keep track of your rolls and like how many nights that you've spent working on them. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the sun rises, and what are the three of you planning on doing today?
Gonna make a breakfast for everybody.
Unfortunately, we only get the benefits of using the kitchen once per adventure.
Well, I think it's important,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
And once breakfast is over, gonna check in with Dorothy as to how did your excursions last night? Were they useful? Were they fruitful?
They have yet to bear fruit, which is a good sign. I should think that even if what I'm doing will eventually result in a contagion, at least it will take some time.
Great, beautiful. That's wonderful to hear. I think. I was thinking maybe we go to the university today. We get more information from there because they clearly have sparks there. I think, from what
Yeah.
I've been putting together.
How should we approach this?
It's a fine question. Viper, do you have any ideas?
Well, we do have some corpses they may be interested in.
We do have that, don't we?
We're
I
not
mean,
going to be able to keep them here, in perpetuity.
Well, I know some preservation techniques if you're interested.
I don't think we want to jerkify our friends.
No sense dumping them in the bay either. Yeah,
Well-
this seems like the wisest thing.
Yeah.
Also, maybe they have additional research that they've been doing, or better equipment than whatever we have in the pantry.
Preposterous.
Well, if you two will make some preparations for this to happen, I'm going to check with Ingrel to see if there are any rites we need to perform.
Oh, good plan.
All right. So you go upstairs to find Ingrel, and she is at the desk in the master bedroom, or in the office rather. There's so many papers spread out before her. There's chairs that are pulled up next to her that have papers on them. There's a couple of neat piles on the floor. One of them has like a shoe on it to keep it all together. And she says, "Ah, Viper, what can I do for you?"
We're going to move the bodies today.
Oh, I see.
Just before we did it, I wanted to know if you had any special considerations.
Well, there are rites to be performed, but to be honest, they feel a little disconnected at this time, as they're, well, related to the storm god, and it feels... I can't find the words, but it doesn't feel right to make a offering in this situation. I guess just handle them with care.
I understand. I've done this for a long time. They'll go gracefully.
Thank you.
And you, don't forget to take care of yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not exactly allowed out of the house right now, so can't very well go for a walk. And I opened the window earlier to get some fresh air and got shouted down to close it again. Those guards are a bit jumpy. I'm just glad they didn't put any crossbow bolts through the windows.
Yeah. Count your victories where you can, I guess. Hopefully, we'll have this cleared up by tonight. We're going to the university.
Oh, what's there?
Hopefully, someone with some knowledge that can help Dorothy figure out this quarantine thing.
I see. Well, then I wish the three of you best of luck.
There's breakfast
Whoa.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, V. I'll be down in a bit.
Anyway, try to relax because, I don't know, somehow it feels like it's going to be even more hectic tomorrow.
She gestures broadly at all of the papers surrounding her and says, "Are you kidding? I'm the picture of vacation at the moment."
Well, good job. Keep it up.
Oh, absolutely.
And I will give her a nice big four-armed hug.
Oh, that'd be good.
She's very grateful. And puts her arms around you and pats you on the back and says, "Thank you."
We'll be back tonight.
I hope so. It's frankly a bit eerie with no one else in the building. But
All right. I'm going to take my leave.
okay. Out of character, Sasha, I don't know if this would interest you, but there is the craft cooking skill if you want to, like, in the future, actually, because the kitchen will give you those food benefits for free, because that's what a kitchen does in the rules. But if you have the craft cooking, then you can make skill checks to actually craft that food. So,
I have a question about that. Is it possible to fail those skill checks?
Not in the way you're thinking. Like you won't. Crafting checks, you don't have critical fails. You just, it's about like how much product you make and that with a certain silver over a couple of days. So unfortunately, you can't burn down the house with your cooking.
Okay.
Would the kitchen count as a workshop? Therefore, your threat range is increased by 3? I know in the rules, but it would make sense.
I'm gonna say no, only because I imagine that like this is like a household kitchen, and I think that a workshop for cooking would be like a restaurant's kitchen with all the fancy appliances and tools therein.
You have sous chefs.
I mean, you can get assistants.
It's true.
Fancy craft game where all you do is run a tavern.
V
Okay,
is her
but, like-
own sous chef.
I love Sweet Butt.
So the three of you are heading off to the university.
Yeah.
With the knowledge that the spark probably came from the university, should we approach providing information and clandestinely investigate for leads on who released the spark, or does anyone have any ideas how to go about that, or a different approach maybe?
Well, I know for certain there is a how to describe them? The person that I was talking to at dinner, who was extremely excited about the opera.
A patron?
A fan?
Professor Rory Aoim.
Who, at the very least, can point us in a more accurate direction than I think others may be inclined to.
Well, assuming that they didn't set it up.
Assuming.
The dean, Gress Sasai, she was also at the dinner.
Well, I suppose there's a couple of ways to do it. If we want to be clandestine about it and sneak around and try to pick up information that way, then we probably talking to the person that you listed before, who I've immediately forgotten, would be the right way to go. But if we want to be more direct about it, perhaps simply approaching whatever science labs that they have, saying, here are 3 sparked bodies, can we use your equipment, is the way to be.
Perhaps we should only offer one sparked body. I mean, I know all life is precious, but I'm particularly attached to one of them, and I know that Ingril is attached to another.
All right.
So, presuming that you are going to be keeping Istal's body for Ingril's benefit, are you planning on bringing Commander Lutenia's body or Paulum's body?
The commander's body.
All right. And how are you planning on bringing it there?
Well, not yet. We gotta bribe them first to see if they, or even see if they want it. You can't really like just drop his body off at the first thing. You're welcome.
Okay, so the three of you are going to the university then?
I'm gonna make a quick pit stop to pick up some armor that I commissioned.
That's right.
Very important armor.
The one for Foxglove?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you go to the tailors,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, your order is ready, and they hold up the tiny little suit of clothing. What does it look like?
I haven't decided yet. Although I have done excessive research in rat in armor. It's-
Incredibly critical Google image searching, absolutely.
I think it's probably like a little leather vest.
So, what is it mechanically?
Mechanically, it is. Don't ask me questions that I need more pieces of paper. It's unborn, insulated, partial padded armor.
Okay, so it's padded
So-
armor.
Yeah, so it has DR1 and electricity resistance 8.
Okay, got a lightning-proof rat.
It's like a rubber-lined
Yes.
quilted jerkin.
Oh,
or
it has
something.
little booties.
Is it a tiny rat rain jacket?
Yes. No, vest. I wanted like a nice like tough boy vest.
Yeah.
Little booties.
Okay.
Perfect.
This rat's an enforcer. We have to keep up the look.
It's got tunnel rats on the back.
Yes.
Okay. So the tailor hands it over and makes sure.
Like a little tiny coat hanger.
I think it's on like a little. I think it's on a potato.
Yeah.
Like I think that the tailor like obviously did not have a mannequin to like be doing the work on, so just was like, this potato matches the measurements that I took. I'll just use that as a mannequin.
I am not tipping him.
What? Hell yeah, free potato. What are you complaining about?
Do not refer to my special girl as a potato. Thank you.
Could have at least used a gourd.
So yes, just hands you the vest-covered potato. It says, I don't think I'll need the root after this. You're welcome to keep it.
Yes, I hand it to Madame B because she's our chef. For those hashed browns you enjoy cooking.
All right.
Basically feet. That's what a potato is.
Here, make some feet stew. And are the three of you riding Gentleman Moose to the university, or are you going to be a little less obtrusive?
Am I ever going to turn down an excuse to ride around Gentleman Moose? No. The answer is no. Unless I am specifically asked not to bring Gentleman Moose, it is safe to say I am parading around like an asshole riding that giant thing through the streets.
And will I ever turn down the opportunity to be the shield bearer that clears the road in front of Gentleman Moose? No, I will not.
All right, now that we have that settled, so
Oh my god. Can you have like 3 bells and just like ring them for people to make way for the moose?
So there is 3 ways across the river that divides the city, the Quiet River. There is the 2 Salasso bridges, the small one, which is basically only for foot traffic, and the large one, which is the one you would have to take with Gentleman Moose, as it is made of sturdy stone, whereas the other one is wood, and as I said, suitable for foot traffic and light carts, but not going to support however heavy this moose is. And the alternative is to take a ferry across the river, which is common enough. But I'm going to guess that you're going to take the large bridge. Yeah. So it is understandably crowded as people move to and fro across it, being the main thoroughfare. And you can see people with barges crossing the river, making their living by moving goods and laborers to and fro. The smell of the river is not great, being the being the common waste disposal method of the city. But what are you gonna do? So you reach the largest district in the last city. Well, at least the largest one inside of the walls. The old camp, where many of the refugees live, outside of the walls is at least comparable, if not slightly larger. But inside the walls, the campus, the inner campus, makes up at least 25% of the land area of the city. It's a sprawling thing with a wide variety of buildings, towers for studying the stars and the weather, wide open lecture halls for exploring medicine and lecturing about theater, perhaps. There's students and scholars moving about in this space, all of them seeking to get inside as quickly as possible to get out of the cold. A great number of them are Saurian, and there are also probably the next sizable group would be the elves and the humans. There's also a light sprinkling of root walkers in here, but primarily it is Saurians, elves, and humans that attend the university. Quick question. Did any of you attend the university in any capacity?
The Viper definitely didn't.
I think I did a century ago.
I think I did slightly worse.
And in what capacity did each of you go to the university? Students, teachers, researchers?
Student.
Yeah, I think I got my master's in opera singing here. I know there's like a specific thing because my cousin literally did that, but like
Oh.
I don't remember the name for it.
Yeah. And Dorothy, what were you studying?
It's been over a century. I don't remember exactly what I studied.
Don't recall where you left your diploma?
Yeah.
What do you remember?
I honestly feel like Dorothy's memory is pretty patchy because there's like she has a mortal brain inside of a mortal vessel, and it's not meant to contain lifetimes.
Was Dorothy human before the transfer?
I feel that's none of your business, and maybe it will
Wow.
come out later.
Damn.
Spoilers.
All right then.
But I will say she was not human.
Okay. So, where do the three of you go? Two of you are at least mildly familiar with the campus layout.
Nah, they've changed some things in the last century.
There is also the outer campus on the outside of the walls, but that's probably not where you're looking for.
Okay. Then
Let's just look for the building with the most funding, and then it'll be the science building. I'm not bitter.
Well, we have either our fangirl professor we can contact or the dean who was kind of sketchy. So,
So Professor Aoum, you can probably find in the performing arts section of the campus, and the dean will almost certainly be in the administrative wing.
What if I just walked around the science building like I belonged there?
That's generally how to be on a college campus. So it's like,
Yeah, you could absolutely do that. I'm just curious as to what end.
To find where they put the spark.
How are you going to find that out?
Open every door I see. I have these tools, I have a decent sneak, and I have a decent presentation.
All right.
Okay, you said this is a campus for humans and saurians and elves. And saurians and elves are smaller than humans. Dorothy is about the size of a toddler, and toddlers can open doors.
Yeah.
Perfect math.
Some saurians are smaller than humans because there's
Right.
like
Logic. Unassailable logic.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So which is you are trying to search the entire campus.
No.
No?
I'm gonna ask a student, where's the science building? I'm late for class.
All right. One of the student you speak to, he definitely initially takes you as a child, and then realizes you're an unborn, and has like a like a double take and then a quadruple take as he has those realizations.
You've never seen a doll with a rat with a liver vest on it? God, how provincial.
And then he gives you the directions you need to the science building.
Cracked the code, guys.
So you're gonna be sneaking around this place,
Yeah, I don't
opening
think I have a great blend check for this.
opening all the doors. Viper and V, what are you two doing while Dorothy is up to these shenanigans?
Definitely not sneaking or blending in. I can tell you that much.
I guess I'll go talk to the good professor. See how things. Well, for one, I would like to check in and see how they're doing since that very 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 stressful night.
Okay. And Viper, are you going with V or are you up to something else?
I don't know. Do you want to split this party 3 ways?
I am the kind of GM, I am ready for anything. If you got plans, we will address them.
I want to try and find the sketchy dean.
Yeah!
Nice,
His
hell
name-
yeah.
I cannot remember.
Okay, so Viper's going for Dean Grussasai. V is going for Professor Rory Aoum. And Dorothy is being a sneak. All right. Let's do Dorothy first. So, Dorothy, why don't you give me that sneak check and see how the initial part of this is going to go.
Okay, I'm just trying to find table 2.7. Why is it not where it says refer to the table?
Page 71.
Thank you. Oh, well, I know that's.
It's blending, sneaking, and concealing.
Okay, and I'm gonna spend an action die. I feel like grossly getting caught sneaking around. It's not the best, but sneak 18 plus nope, slash roll. So 19.
19. Okay, how quickly are you moving?
Half speed.
Okay. It's no...
So 10 feet.
Yep. Characters, so you get +4 for being small.
Woo!
Species, close to surrounding group, similar to surrounding group, unlike surrounding group. I think you're probably close to surrounding group.
Yeah, I'm humanoid.
Yeah, you could pass for a child.
Yay.
So that's -2 for a total of +2 right now. I think the scenery is sparse and is just sparse because it's, hallways. There's some furniture. So that's another -2, so you're to 0. And then I think this is probably dim light. I think that the lecture hall or any classrooms where they need bright light, that's where that would be. But I think the hallways are probably dimly lit. So that's +0. So it all comes out in the end to +0.
19.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Okay. 13. Okay. Yeah, there is no one who really takes note of you.
Oh, that little girl must be lost, but I'm sure she'll find her way.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a test.
Yeah, the students, everyone here is too busy with their classes to worry about you. Give me a prestidigitation check to try and get into any rooms that are locked.
14.
Okay. Let's see. Is that enough? Yeah, Yeah, I'd say that's enough for most classrooms.
Yeah, if there's a door with like a heavy lock, then I'm going to take 10 with it.
Okay.
Actually, no, because that will give me 13. Maybe I'll take 20. Yeah, I'll take 20 with it.
Okay.
I got nothing to do, and I have to pee.
All right. Yeah, so it takes you a while of searching through this building because, you're moving slowly, and there's a lot of rooms. There are lecture halls that have students being talked at. You have labs where there are people performing experiments of varying types, chemistry and biology and physics and arcana.
There's going to be a lot of students that think that the school's haunted because the door's going to open. They're going to look at a reasonable height. When I realize it's just a class. Probably no secret smart.
Yeah.
Really kind of related. Are there rules for ghosts in Fantasycraft?
Oh, of course.
Standard monster rules.
Yeah.
No cool haunting rules.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
You move through these spaces, taking your time. It'll be a couple of hours. Let me think. Give me 2d4 to see how many hours it takes you to eventually find that locked door that you just can't get past.
5 hours.
Okay. So it's going to take you 5 hours. You've cleared basically the entire science wing, and then you eventually find
Janitor's closet.
there is a door at the back of a supply room that has a much better lock than it should. And in fact, it is behind a shelving unit that is on wheels, which those wheels are concealed by the construction of the shelving unit. But you're able to find it because you are looking for that kind of nonsense. And you pick the lock, taking your good sweet time, taking your 20 with it. And on the other side is stairs leading down. And we will come back to you in a bit. So V, you find Professor Aom in her office in the performing arts section. What do you do?
I knock very politely at the door, and I asked, "Do you have a moment?"
So as a reminder, Professor Aom is an orange tabby Kadum. And so she looks up from what she was writing. Oh, Madam V, absolutely, come in. I'm glad to see you're all right.
I'm happy to see you well as well. You sort of disappeared. I mean, very, very reasonably. And I wanted to check in to see how you were doing after that awful, awful night.
It's so fresh in my memory. My colleagues are saying I should take some time off, but I have these papers to mark, and I don't know where I would make up that time. Also, I'm not feeling great about being alone these last couple days. It's good to hear people in the next room. So I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. I asked.
I just don't want to put upon you. You're an acquaintance, and you are, as much as I admire your work, you are not someone. You're not here for me to put my emotional burdens upon you. I'm sure you have your own concerns to deal with.
I fully understand.
Was there something you wanted to speak to me about?
That is a fantastic question. I'm so glad that you asked. There was some talk at dinner about a sort of a surreptitious way of speaking about it, about the Sparked.
Was there?
Oh yes, there was indeed. I don't blame you for not remembering that night was a whirlwind of things. But I recall the dean being very squirrely about the subject, and speaking perhaps unintentionally, as if there were Sparked being held here at the university. Do you know anything about that?
Sparked being held here?
They were not very subtle about it. I don't think.
No, we would never do that. I have been all throughout this section, and there are definitely no Sparked here.
Well, certainly not in the performing arts center. That would not make any sense.
Oh yes, okay, I see what you mean. Yes.
And we would certainly not be equipped nor interested in that kind of brutality, certainly. But have you heard anything from your associates, perhaps in the other sections, perhaps in the science wing or in um, I don't know, the diplomacy wings, the political science. That would be what that's called. That's me fumbling for words. Not.
So I just rolled for her to see if she might have heard anything, and she got a 13. And she says, there's been talk about the Sparked, but from all that I can recall, it's mostly been conjecture. You know, eyewitness accounts from refugees and from the Coast Guard whenever that they've blocked an infected ship from coming to the island. I think I recall hearing that there's reports that those ships that have been blocked by the Coast Guard actually appear to have been maybe crewed by the Sparked.
Crude.
I mean, the ships were under sail. I'm having difficulties recalling the details, and obviously this is fourth hand, but it sounded like maybe they were just on the ship that got infected, and it was already underway. I'm sorry, I don't exactly listen for that a whole lot unless someone's putting on a play about the topic, but to be frank, I don't think that there's much of a market for that. It's a little too raw of a wound for many in the city.
Certainly. Have you noticed? I mean, certainly you are as privy to the budgetary limits of the university as anyone. Have you noticed any cuts to this program or extensions to others that seem unusual?
Well, for many years we did receive a wonderful grant from Mr. Salazar, who was a regular patron of the arts, and unfortunately in the last couple of years that patronage has declined and then eventually stopped about a year or so ago. I've heard the poor man has fallen on hard times. So we have had somewhat limited funding here the last little while. But to my knowledge, that seems to be the case over much of the university. Trade isn't exactly booming on the island, and we aren't getting many new students. And once they graduate, a lot of them don't have the money to then return or stay in the programs even. There's just not a whole lot of money. Everything that, and of course the coal budget keeps rising.
Of course.
Can't have half of our students and faculty dying of hypothermia every year. But I don't know what to tell you. Times are hard.
They certainly are. You've been more than helpful, and I apologize again for haranguing you in the middle of the day, in the middle of your grading, and B reaches over and takes your hands in hers. I truly, it's good to see that you are figuring out your own way to heal.
Oh, it's um, it's it's always a pleasure to see you, Madam V, whether on stage or especially in person. Um, uh, as I said, it's tough being alone, so I don't mind the interruption at all.
They want that V. Yes.
So, at any time that you wish to speak, just come by, or and I'd be happy to discuss preferably more pleasant matters,
Certainly,
such as the stage, but whatever's on your mind.
I would love to. This has been absolutely enlightening. Thank you so much for your time.
Would you have time for tea before you go? I put on a pot a short time ago.
I could stay for tea.
Oh.
Certainly.
Wonderful. So she says, "I'll be back in a moment with the pot." So she leaves to go to the faculty lounge.
Okay.
Do you want to rummage through her things at all, or are you just going to wait?
I suspect if I rummage through her things, I'm gonna find a bunch of really poorly written essays about like the Great Gatsby, basically. So no, I guess I would take sort of like a cursory look around, but I'm not gonna fucking snoop into this theater nerd's house. Like, that's fine.
Okay, do you want to make a roll for this?
For just looking at things?
Yeah, you can just do like a notice, see if there's anything that jumps out at you.
Sure. We go to that thing that you described with the notice. Yeah, here we go. Boop.
That's a natural 20.
Okay. I'll spend an action die to make that a crit. Why the fuck not?
Okay.
Oh, you see their name, like Lady V and Lady. All your names written together.
Rory plus V carved into the desk. No. Let's see. I think you actually, like, glancing around on, like, the mess of papers on the desk, you are able to find, like, a memo from the dean about, like, the budget for the coming year, because it's winter and it'll be spring in not too long, and so fiscal priorities need to be considered. So you're able to have a look at that if you want.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, you can see that the two areas that are getting the most funding are the Arcana division and biology and physics. Those three are getting the most funding. Hydrodynamics is getting the least, along with like things, basically anything related to shipbuilding and the works of the sea is just getting absolutely stiffed, which is not surprising. The city itself, the Coast Guard basically commandeered all of the dry docks and all of the shipbuilders when the blockade went up. There is no way anyone is getting a ship in the city unless it is from the Coast Guard. But yeah, you can see that they, like, the university as a whole does not have a lot of money. Like, it's basically broke. And there's definitely some notes that Professor Eowyn has written about like her thoughts about where arguments she can make during the budget meeting
Oof.
to try and save her program.
The Webster Dictionary defines.
And it's basically really cutthroat, like trying to argue about other programs that she can throw under the wagon, so to speak, to try and save her, like basically the performing arts section. And yeah, that's what you find. So a little while later, she returns with the tea, unless there's something you want to do while she's still out.
I don't think so. I think in the meantime I've looked at that, and then also looked at the her shelves and whatnot, and I'm just sort of like I find like a really rare manuscript, and I get really excited about that. So that's probably what we talk about over tea.
Oh,
When I was looking through your things, I
was just browsing.
Oh, while you're quickly browsing, you also see that she has like a collection of programs from performances that have been put on at the arts center, including some that you were in as well. So
Oh, well, that just makes sense.
yeah.
I'm great.
Wait, Viper, you go to the dean's office. It's not hard to find. There is signage. You arrive there. There's a waiting room with a receptionist, an elf woman sitting behind the desk. And she looks up at you and says, good morning. How can I help you?
Is the dean in?
Do you have an appointment with Dean Sasai?
Is the dean in?
Do you have an appointment with the dean?
Are the offices labeled?
Yes, there's definitely like.
Okay, then I'm just going to ignore the receptionist.
Excuse me.
I would feel it's also important to note that Viper is armed.
Jesus.
Yes, I know about your forearms, Viper.
Yeah. What are you carrying again? A boar spear? Is that
A boar
correct?
spear, yes, and a steel shield.
Yeah. Okay. So you barge into the dean's office, and Dean Gress Sasai is sitting behind her desk, going over a ledger. And she looks up and she says, "What are you, Viper? What are you doing here?"
I'm gonna make sure the door is closed behind me, first of all.
You're like closing the door, and the receptionist is like, "I'm so sorry, Dean. She just," and then closes. What's the meaning of this?
I need you to refresh me, the player. Was the dean still there when things popped off at the
Yes.
after dinner?
Yes,
Okay.
and then she fled alongside the professor and the elder sibling.
Okay.
I think Broadway was the only person who was like, oh, I just gotta go.
Oh yeah, he was the only one tapping his watch. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Hate dessert.
Say, well, I'm glad to see that you remember me.
Yes, well, I hope you won't take this the wrong way, but you do make an impression.
And she is what she's
Ig-
like.
She's an Iguanian.
Okay, so she's like roughly human size.
Yeah, she's probably like about 5'10" with a like somewhat lithe build,
Mhm.
and she has like bluish green scales all over her body, with some red markings around her eyes, and she's wearing a scholar's robe, which you've seen all over campus. But she also has like her chain of office around her neck.
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, I will, since there's probably no furniture that's Viper-sized in here, just take a knee in front of her desk and, lay my spear down next to it.
Her eyes
And,
definitely go wide at the presence of such a prominent weapon.
Yeah, it's probably even taller than Viper is. It's probably like 14, 15 feet long. Anywho, you've probably gathered by now that this is not a social call.
Correct, considering you are an acquaintance at best. Is that a prop weapon from the opera?
I assure you it is not. The commander, I guess the commander did they die before or after everyone else got out? I can't remember.
After everyone bailed.
After, okay. You may or may not have heard also that the commander of the Coast Guard has been lost.
Yes, that rumor did reach my ears, but you're confirming it?
I am. Their body is currently in the pantry of our townhouse.
Oh! I see.
They are sparked.
Oh. I see.
In light of this information, I've been deputized by the vice commander.
She looks at your weapons and says, "Oh, I see."
And now I need you to convince me that the spark that attacked the giant embassy did not come from this university.
What?
It's her turn to talk, and I'm gonna hit my sense motive button over here.
All right. That's
Oh, come on!
that's a natural one.
You seem on the up and up.
Yes.
I have got to stop attempting to interrogate people. It never works.
I
I
mean,
think it's working entirely as intended.
I mean, you've got a +7, so that's not an unreasonable roll. So,
I mean, narratively, you're doing just the best possible job. Mechanically, not so much.
yeah. Okay.
It's always possible that she was way more prepared to be interrogated than we expected her to be.
She says, "I have been a loyal member of this city since long before the blockades were put in place. I would not endanger those who are my wards, the staff, the faculty, the students. You come in here accusing me of endangering not only them, but also the entire city after I was terrorized at the Giant's embassy? How dare you? How dare you? Leave.
I'm choosing to go.
Yeah. I don't know that there's a smooth exit out of this. Thank you, Dean. That was all I needed to hear.
I'm glad. Next time, make an appointment. Even the late commander had the dignity and kindness and respect to do so.
Yeah, sure. Is there any point to me rolling a notice while I'm in this office?
Yeah, you can absolutely
Okay.
glance around, take a quick glance.
Nice.
An 18.
It was an 18.
Let's see. Yeah, okay. So the thing she has in front of her that she was writing in was a ledger, or is a ledger, as I stated. You can see, just glancing through it, there's a lot of red ink. As V learned elsewhere, the university is not doing well. And the dean was in the middle of adding a new, fairly large investment to the university when you came in to the ledger.
Okay, noted.
There's no listed investor. It just says investor.
A lot of zeros.
A lot of zeros.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will take my shit and leave.
Okay. So we'll go back to Dorothy for a short bit before break.
So I have a spell that has the radius of local. Local is defined to be 250 feet. I did some quick math. On the average walking speed, that's about a 10-minute walking distance. Are my companions within 10 minutes walking distance of a human of me? Keep in mind that an average university, you can usually make it from one campus to the other in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. My experience is blown out of proportion with U of T's St. George campus. Yeah, sure. I'll allow it.
Cool. So I'm going to cast Whispers twice, hopefully to effect, to get into the head of my companions. So how it works is the conversation becomes a series of faint whispers, inaudible to others. Yeah. And so sound must be able to travel between us, but we don't have to see each other. So, spell casting. Uh, 22 to talk to Madame V, and we'll save 22. So I don't get one step towards possessed. That's for a phone call. Good. Hey, it's your girl, Dorothy. Her voice is definitely different than her speaking voice. So I just cracked this hidden door with a really, really dense lock in the science building. It's room...
You can just make something up.
I was watching the McElroys earlier, so it's room 69. I'm only human. Room 69, the good number.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm here. The door's open. Welcome to the party. And
Well, I certainly must be going. It's been such a delight, but I truly have to go, and I say my goodbyes to my friend here, whose name I can't remember. And
part of your charm.
She's only a fan. It's fine.
and I skedaddle on over to the science building to room 69. Hell yeah.
Okay, I have to hang up and call someone else.
Okay.
For 25, and we'll save 9. So I guess, yeah. Okay, so I don't make my will save there.
Getting you with those hidden fees.
Yeah. Like roaming. So yeah, so I'll just.
We can.
Viper is just standing outside the administration building, kind of rubbing her temples.
Oh.
Hey girl. You want to head? No, wait.
What?
I was gonna say you want to head over to room 69, but that sounds like the worst pickup in history. Hey babe, you wanna? This is Dorothy. You want? It's not a voice in your head. I wouldn't do that to you. Would you like to come down this creepy staircase I found in the science room? I got a very sturdy lock unpicked, and I'm ready to go.
No, that doesn't sound any less like a hookup. Sorry.
Viper's still just standing there with her hand over her eyes and is like, okay.
Great.
So after about 10 minutes of typing, Viper sends back K.
Yeah.
Leaves me on red.
All right. So Dorothy, are you waiting for V and Viper to show up before you check down the stairs?
Yeah, they said they'd be coming, so
Oh.
yes.
If I catch V on the way, I'm gonna be like, has she ever done that to you before?
I think I've given stage directions that way.
Yeah, but not off stage.
Okay. That was weird. Anyway, science building?
Science building.
Let's go.
Quick question though, where's Gentleman Moose? Just like in the middle of campus.
On the quad.
Yeah.
He's
Gentlemen,
We
playing
actually, had
extreme frisbee right now.
we actually had a moose on my quad.
that's terrifying.
Not a real one. Not a real one. It was... Oh wait, no, it wasn't a moose. It was a cannon. But
Wait, no, it was a real one.
Christine!
No, I conflated it because people would paint the cannon, and I conflated it where Toronto used to have all these like different painted moose around town. Again, fake.
God.
Okay.
I thought I'd get rid of it because Toronto hates fun now. That's what they're doing, and also schooling and healthcare. Hi.
All right. So V and Viper arrive at room 69,
Hell yeah.
which is a storage room. And you open up, and it is like the rest of this facility. Most of the hallways and rooms are a touch too small for the two of you, so you're sort of hunched over. It's awkward. But you go inside, and there's Dorothy standing by a shelving unit which has swung out like a door, and past that is an open door frame going down with stairs, unlit. And before the three of you descend into darkness, we are going to take a break. All right. So, everyone. We will be back shortly.